Stika Virtual Travel Agency.
Hello, welcome friends of Stika Travel. Today I'm going to present you the Plaza San Martin, one of the most important squares in Buenos Aires city, which has the name of the liberator of Argentina. However, the squares is like an excuse to show you the important buildings and sites in this part of the city. Okay, this square is located in the neighborhood of Retiro in the northern part of Buenos Aires city. Come with me and I will show you the place. The square is located in the Retiro neighborhood, located in the northeastern part of Buenos Aires city, almost 2 kilometers from Mayo Square to the north. It's an important point of connection between the different parts of Buenos Aires and the country. Because in this area there are metro stations, buses stations, but above all the main railway stations and the main long distance bus terminal, which lead to different parts of the country. As for the name of the neighborhood, there are different theories. The first says that this is due to the story of a criminal who arrived with the first Spanish expedition that arrived in these lands in 1536, who left the group and came to this place, putting a cross as a form of redemption. Another theory says that at the same time, spiritual retreats were held here, and according to the latest theory, a governor named Agustín de Robles built a large building as a mansion, which he called Retiro, so the area began to be known as Retiro. Sometime later, that building was used for the slaves smuggling. In the beginning, Buenos Aires was a smuggling port because it was the southernest point of the Spanish possessions. And during the colonial times, millions of slaves were brought from different parts of Africa and then sent to different parts of Latin America. Slavery was completely abolished in Argentina in the year 1853. The African culture influence has been very important throughout Argentina and in the Buenos Aires history. Sometime later, the building was used for the slaves smuggling. In the beginning of the history in Buenos Aires, was a smuggling port because it was the southernest point of the Spanish possessions. During the colonial times, millions of slaves were brought from different parts of Africa and then sent to different parts of Latin America. Slavery in Argentina was completely abolished in the year 1853. And nowadays the African culture has been very important throughout Argentina and Buenos Aires history. There was a big percent of African descendant population here. Also, unfortunately, most of the people died during wars and then for epidemics. Currently, there are Afro-descendant communities in the city that are claiming for the African culture reivindication in the whole country. Going to talk about the person who gives this square its name. I mean José de San Martín. San Martín is considered the most important hero in the Argentinian history. San Martín was born in Argentina, but as a child he went with his family to live to Spain, where he was part of the Spanish army that fought against Napoleon Bonaparte. After several years in Spain, he returned to Argentina in 1812, in the period in which the wars of independence had begun in South America. The main power of Spain in South America was in Lima, the capital of Peru, so To defeat the Spanish power, there was the need to cross all South America. San Martin was appointed as a general of the army and planned a strategy as dangerous as effective. He decided to cross the Andes high mountains with his army to avoid crossing central South America, called Alto Peru, that nowadays this is Bolivia, and then to reach Lima. Along the way he helped the Chile independence, and then he liberated Peru. In Ecuador, San Martin meets Simón Bolívar, who successfully ends the period of independence in South America. San Martin lives his military life and settles in Grandbourg, in a palace in France, with his daughter, and he died in 1850. Currently, you can visit the Mausoleum of San Martin in the Metropolitan Cathedral of Buenos Aires, located in the Mayo Square. Throughout Argentina, in each city, the most important squares and avenues have the name of San Martin. And there are a lot of monuments in his honor too. And for example, this monument was made in 1862 by the French sculptor Louis Daumas. This is the first equestrian monument made in Argentina. There is also an allegory to the god Mars, the Greek god, the Roman god of the war, with a condor on the left leg. So you can see the condor represents the Andes mountains, the biggest bird of the Andes. The monument is located here on this side because it is here where the regiment of grenadiers of horseback was trained, an army created by José San Martin, who today can be seen guarding the Mausoleum of the Liberator in the Metropolitan Cathedral. And now we are leading to a monolith located on the other side of the square. This monument located here represents the Reconquest of Buenos Aires. But what is this all about? There is a historical fact known as the British invasion. It's about two expeditions made by the British Navy to seize Buenos Aires, which was the capital of the Viceroyalty of the Rio de la Plata during the Spanish colonial period. In the context of the Napoleonic Wars, after defeating the French-Spanish forces at the Battle of Trafalgar, Great Britain gained the control of the Atlantic Ocean space. However, the continental blockades imposed by Napoleon Bonaparte prevented them from trading with the European countries. And as a result, the British began an aggressive campaign in research of new markets to supply themselves with their raw materials and sell their industrial production. In 1806, the British seized the Cape of Buena Esperanza, a Dutch colony located in the southern Africa. The success of this action encouraged them to attempt the conquest of the Rio de la Plata, located just crossing the Atlantic Ocean. In June of 1806, 1,600 men landed in Buenos Aires, and faced with the failure of an attempt to stop the invaders before they reached to the city, the Viceroy and part of the Spanish administration ran away with the royal treasury. The British managed to take Buenos Aires, And one of the measures taken by the invaders was to eliminate the monopoly imposed by the Spanish crown and establish the free trade. This measure, this politics, was resisted by Spanish traders who were benefits with the trade restrictions made by the Spanish monopoly. And in Buenos Aires, resistance was organized, while in Montevideo, a man called Santiago de Liniers recruited a train and trained troops to reconquer the city. A troop of 4,000 people was equipped to pass through this point where the monolith is located towards Plaza de Mayo, in direction to the south, where they defeated the English and reconquered the city. The English left, but the following year they returned, but with many more soldiers. However, Buenos Aires was much better prepared, not only because of the troops that had been made, but also the neighbors also helped to defend the city. For example, throwing boiling water from the balconies of the houses. The British finally surrendered, and the consequences of these invasions have been an 80 and 180 degree turn of history in Argentina, because the weakness of the Spanish Empire was evident, and this produced a change in relations between the metropolis and the colonies. People became aware of their ability to make decisions about their destiny and manage their own defense. Militias were created that played a leading role in the process of Argentine independence. And the immediate result was the Revolution of May, an event that meant to be the first Argentinian government without a Spanish leader, and it was like considered like the birthday of Argentina. And then there are several monoliths like this called hitos. This is the number 12 that says that here fought the ones that defeated the here. Okay, it was made in 1980, this monument. And then at every hito, this is Our Lady of Luján, the patron of Argentina and the roots of Argentina. Now I will show you one of the first of the biggest buildings that we are visiting today. And then this building that we are seeing now, this is the San Martin Palace, named like this because of the liberator who been talking about a while before. This building was built in the year 1909 by the architect Alejandro Christophersen, who has made several buildings in the city. This is a typical building of a French academic style, a style of architecture widely used by the Buenos Aires aristocracy in the early 20th century, who saw Paris, who saw France as an example, started building and contracting, hiring French architects to make their houses. Then not only here, also in Palermo, in Recoleta, there are a lot of them. However, this part of the city was practically uninhabited before the construction of these palaces. The aristocracy lived in the south of the city, but moved here as a result of a yellow fever epidemic that attacked the city in 1871, in which about 40,000 people died. Then these families left their large houses in the south and began to inhabit the northern part of the city. In this case, building belonged to Mercedes Anchorena. She was a member of the elite of Buenos Aires. That is why this is known Palacio Anchorena Palace, until 1936, that the building was bought by the national government to become the Ministry of Foreign Relations, and began to be called as Palacio San Martin. Inside there are paintings of famous artists. There is a very interesting myth there is an interesting legend about this building, but I will tell you later, because it has something to do with that building that I am pointing now. Okay, the white one that you see now. And then we are leading to another interesting spot, another important of the big palaces located surrounding the San Martin Square, the Palacio Pass. Well, my friends, hope you're having a good time here in the San Martin Square and then the places surrounding the Retiro neighborhood. And I will show you then another palace, another building interesting in this place. This is the Palacio Pass, Palace, that was built by José Paz, owner of most of the most important newspapers in Argentina, called La Prensa. And this is the place. Look at this. Interesting, isn't it? Huh? Now I will talk a little bit about this place. José Paz was the owner of this building, of this newspaper, who traveled to Paris, and there he hired a French architect called Louis-Marie Henri Sortot, with the idea of building a mansion in the style of these palaces, which was at that time a symbol of economic power, although beyond that, the idea of him was to become the president of the nation. Yes, therefore he thought of this place as a presidential residence, as the Pink House is today. The palace was complete in the year 1914, although José Paz died 2 years earlier, so he could not enjoy the palace. The size of the palace was unthinkable in those years, with 12,000 square meters, with more than 140 rooms inside. In the immense residence stand out mainly luxurious rooms, finally decorated and furnished, such as the great dining room of honor, the great gallery of honor, the great hall of honor, the living room, the music room, and the dance room that represents the gallery of mirrors of the palace in Versailles, in France. Well, there is another story that says that one of the daughters of José Paz married Aaron Anchorena, the son of Mercedes Anchorena, the owner of the building that we have seen before. During the Great Depression of the 1930s, Aaron got so many debts, so the family had to sell the palace to the national estate, and in 1938, and then become the military circle, a civil association belonging to the members of the Argentinian army. Currently, this is the Museum of Arms of the nation that is also located here. This is the Museum of Arms, Another thing that happened in the city is that every November we add on the springtime, it happens the night of the museum. It's interesting because a lot of museums in the city are opened, and then from 7 o'clock in the afternoon and then up to 3 a.m. you have the chance of visiting museums during a Saturday in times that maybe some people cannot go during the week, and then a lot of people get together to go to every museum that has a free entrance. And now I will show you this another interesting building that is on repair, as you can see. And next to the palace you can see the Aedo Palace, another one, which today this is the site of the National Parks Administration. The original building was built in the 1870 in a Renaissance style, and it used to be a particular residence by the family Aedo. This place was completely remodeled in 1942 when it became home of the National Parks Administration. It is a very particular building. You can see the style, and I will show you the front of this. You can see that it's like a kind of neo-Gothic style, yeah, but also with some French Academy, I can say, because of the marker of the monsters that can be seen above. Okay, about the National Parks Administration, this is an Argentinian corp responsible of maintaining the national systems of protected areas aimed at the conservation of the country's biological diversity and cultural resources. In total, Argentina has 36 national parks located in different parts of the country. Among them, I can mention two of them that are very important and very visited by the tourists. One of them, this is the Iwa National Park, located in the northeast of Argentina, where the Iguazu waterfalls are located. And then the other one is in the Patagonia. This is the Los Glaciares, the Glaciers National Park, where you can see the glacier Perito Moreno. And now I'm going to show you one of the most important streets of Buenos Aires. This is Florida Street, a pedestrian street very famous for being an open-air shopping center which extends 40 kilometers and in which you can find a lot of things. This is right opposite to San Martin Square, you can see. Anyway, we are leaving a few blocks. This is a street very crowded by citizens and also by tourists because you can see very important buildings. For example, the Harrods store. This is the only Harrods store out of England. You can see the architecture. Amazing building, you can see. This is a very active street every day. During the week, thousands of office workers work here because here begins the called micro center. This is the downtown inside the downtown. Yes, this is the neuralgic point of the city near the obelisco. That is the neuralgic point itself. And then in the weekend, this is filled with those who come for walking and shop. Florida starts near the Mayo Square, 1 kilometer from here, and ends in the San Martin Square. Well, as I mentioned before, this is like an open-air shopping center that extends for 1 kilometer, which you can find, for example, clothes store. You can find jewelry store, and for example, you can find also leather stores. As I mentioned, Argentina has a very important production of leather, so all along the Florida street you can find this kind of shops that offer a lot of leather. You can see bags, hats, shoes, for example, and then clothes. Lot of streets in Buenos Aires, in this part of the downtown, you can find these streets like Florida. Florida was named because of a battle that happened during the period of the War of Independence. And this is also very attractive to see Florida, as you can see the sign. You can see the sign of Florida. From living statues to couples dancing tango, the traditional dance of Buenos Aires. Yes. Well, there are also another interesting buildings. For example, the Navy Center here located in this corner. And then on the other side, there is a shopping center that is called the Galerías Pacífico, the Pacifico Gallery, where there is a shopping, one of the most important shopping malls in Buenos Aires, a building that used to belong to the trainway, the railway that used to lead through the Pacific to the other part of Argentina, to the west of Argentina, so that it was called Pacific. Well, now I introduce you to this very nice building, very imposing. Yes, this is the Cabana Building, named like this because this place was made. The idea, the creator was Corina Cabana, an Argentinian businesswoman. This building was inaugurated in 1936, and with 120 meters of height, used to be the highest building in South America, made of reinforced concrete. Among something characteristics, this has the shape of the bow of a ship. Okay, for example, it has another things. For example, this is the first place of residence that had conditioned air, and there are a system of terraces. You can see that there are gardens. You can see some trees on this place. This is very amazing. As I told you, yes, this will be the highest building in South America on those times. There is a legend on this building, and the legend takes us to the church that is on the other side. As you can see, there is a church like hidden. Yes, remember that at the first point at the San Martin Palace I mentioned about the legend when I show you the Cabana Building. Okay, from that point. I will tell you why. But now we have to go there to tell you the story. Yes, we found an egg opposite to the square. Well, you can see the church and then the Cabana Building here. Yeah. Well, we are located here. You can see the San Martin Square, and then this is the back part of the Cabana Building. Yes, how impressive. I will tell you about the legend that says that there was a relationship between Corina Cabana and one of the sons of Mercedes Anchorena. Anchorena would have forced the breakup of the relation because Corina was not a candidate that belonged to the aristocracy of Argentina. So, for that reason, Corina would have ordered to build this huge building to cover the view that the Anchorena had from their home. Yes, to the Basilica of the Santísimo Sacramento. That is this building that we can see now. Yes, it had been built to become the future grave of the Anchorena's family. And from the only place you can see the church is from this passage that borders the building, and that ironically it has the name of Corina Cabana. Yes. Anyway, this is just a legend because when the building was inaugurated in 1936, Mercedes Anchorena had already died. It's also nice to see the lamps painted like a golden color. Yes, this is painted in golden color. This park was designed by Charles Taille. Charles Taille was a French landscaper that designed also the Palermo Woods at the time when Argentina became the capital of the whole country, when Buenos Aires City starts being the capital of the whole country. Okay, so from this point you can also see the big amount of trees that there are in the square. These ones, for example, these are blessed during the summertime. These are the tipas that have a very interesting orange flower. Yes, very nice. And then on the other side you can see this line of trees. That is the palo borracho. In Spanish, this is the drunk tree. Yes, it has like a stomach. It has very nice pink flowers during March. So as I mentioned, also in Palermo, the Buenos Aires city is designed so as to have flowers from September to March, April. Yes, jacarandas with violet flower, very nice. Then the lapacho with a pink flower also, and the ceibo, that is the national flower, the red one that is very beautiful. You can see also people walking. This is very nice day, and I will show you like the whole square from here. You can see San Martin monument on the other side, and then the clock tower where we are living later, and then the Cabana Building over there. yes, and on that direction is the Florida Street. And well, from this point we have a very interesting side of the square. As you can see, this is a hill down, yes. It means that every hill down that we see in each point of the city means that the river shore used to be here, but it was filled with land during the history, mostly in the last part of the 19th century, beginning of the 20th century, when there was an enlightenment of the city. You can see opposite to us, for example, in the middle, that is the clock tower. We will speak later about it. Then another side that is down the hill, that is the Cenotaph of Malvinas. We are going now to there. And then at the bottom you can see some cranes. Yes, those cranes means the port of Buenos Aires. This is not by chance, that is here located next to the near the train station, okay, that is located on that side. Yes, it was the entrance of the products, and then the new port that is working now, not only for the commercial stuff, then also for the arrival of tourism. Thousands of tourists come every year to visit Buenos Aires. And then Retiro is also a very contrastful neighborhood, because they are on the train station from there, along the Libertador Avenue, the avenue that we can see there. Also, this is on one side one of the richest part of Buenos Aires, and then on the other side this is the ex-shantytown number 31, that is now the Padre Mujica neighborhood. That is a neighborhood that is not an official one, but this is in process, yes, a process of urbanization, and wants to be recognized as a neighborhood, as a formal neighborhood. We have 48 neighborhoods, and this want to be the number 49. Yes, hope it can be. Yes, soon. Another place is at the Sheraton Hotel. Yes, this is very common for the people to come here, to come to the hill. And during the World Cup, for example, there is a big screen where people can watch the games. Yes, it seems like a little stadium there to watch on the screen the matches when Argentina plays, or maybe when another rival plays. This is very interesting. And well, here down the San Martin Square, on the barrack, the down part of the barrack, there is a cenotaph. This cenotaph, this is a monument to the dead soldiers in Malvinas. The Malvinas War was a bellic conflict between Argentina and the United Kingdom that took place in the year 1982 over the sovereignty of the Malvinas Islands. These islands are a group of islands located in the southeast of Argentina, which Argentina considers its own territory since 1820. But in 1833, Great Britain usurped the islands, seized the islands, and declared them part of the British territory, and began to name them as Falklands Islands. From that moment, Argentina began to legitimately claim the sovereignty over the islands, but with not a positive result. In 1982, Argentina suffered a military dictatorship that had begun in the year 1976, in which more than 30,000 people were kidnapped and disappeared. But not only that, there were also serious economic problems that weakened the military government. Then, with the idea of gaining popularity again, well, they never were popular. and perpetuating themselves in the power, the dictator sent troops to the islands on April 2 and took them. In response, Margaret Thatcher, who had also lost popularity in her government, decided to send troops to the island. Then, as a result, thousands of young boys were sent to Malvinas with no military training and very little protection from the government, while the English soldiers were professional soldiers and had more sophisticated technology. The war lasted 1 month and a half. On June 10, Argentina surrenders and the war ends. As a result, the United Kingdom still controls the islands, yet Argentina continues to claim the sovereignty over them. Something like that happens in Gibraltar. This is like the most comparative example. They are very strategic sites, politically, economically, and military. So this is not very comfortable. Well, Thatcher increased her popularity while the Argentine dictators lost power, and then in 1983 it was returned to democracy, which continues up to now. Something strange that happened in the period is that it was forbidden to pass music in English in the Argentinian radios. In the war, 650 Argentinians died and 250 Englishmen died. And in addition, many ex-soldiers committed suicide after the war. In this site is reminiscent of Argentinian soldiers. This is a cenotaph, that is that funeral monument without the body to honor someone, in this case the soldiers. As you can see, the cenotaph has 25 black granite plaques engraved on the names of the soldiers that died in this conflict. On the ground there are the shields of the provinces, of each province, that also the city of Buenos Aires, and then the shield of the Argentinian nation. Okay, in the left wing you can see the silhouette of the island. Every 2 of April is commemorated as a day off in Argentina, and there are a lot of ceremonies in all the country to remember our people. But well, this cenotaph, this is not located by chance. In this spot, we will see that on the other side of the square we can see a tower that looks like a Big Bang. We are going there and we'll see what it's about. Well, this monument that we are seeing now, this is the Monumental Tower, better known as the English Tower. This is a gift from the British residents to Argentina for the commemoration of the centenary of the May Revolution, which happened in the year 1810. Not only the British community, but also several communities gave monuments to Argentina, which can be seen in different parts of the city. For example, the one I show you in the video of Palermo, where you can see the monument from the Spanish community. Okay, it began to be called Monumental Tower instead of the English Tower after the Malvinas War. The tower, the idea was to build it in the year 1910, but it was finally made in the year 1916. Yeah? The tower was made with Portland concrete and Leicester style bricks. All materials were brought from England. The height of the tower is 60 meters, and there are interesting ornamentations. For example, the thistle of Scotland, the rose that represents the House of Tudor, that represents England, the red dragon of Wales, and the clover of Ireland. There is a clock at the top that is very beautiful, and the tower has 5 bronzy bells that every quarter of an hour imitate the melody of the Westminster Abbey. Well, now I show you the Retiro station of trains. This is one of the main train stations in the city. This is a good opportunity to talk about population in Argentina. Argentina has 45 million inhabitants, while in the Gran Buenos Aires, the region has 14 million inhabitants. The city of Buenos Aires has 3 million, yes, and the train is usually the main point of connection between the different cities inside and outside the city, with the downtown located here. This is these are like the gates of the downtown. It has a direct connection with the main train station. There are 6 lines of metro in the city, and 2 of them are located here. This building was inaugurated in 1915 with the idea of being connection between the port of Buenos Aires with the other provinces of Argentina for the transportation of agricultural products and travelway for the big amount of immigrants that have begun to arrive to Argentina. Another side of the front is very interesting architecture. You can see this has like a style of mixture of French style, some Renaissance style, some structural, also style of architecture. The station, the train station inside. The building is divided in 2 big sections. One of them, one of the sectors, this is the sector of the platform that I will show you later, but this is the lobby sector where there are restaurants and then the ticket offices, and I will show you in 1 second. With a very criterious aesthetic, a lot of lines that has the British style of architecture, and then it has also torches with a Florentine style. You can see. I will show you the torches, and then there is a place where people to save their luggage. The sector for the luggage. There are some offices in this place, and I will show you also the columns. These are, you can see the Corinthian columns. This is a mixture, a very eclectic place. You can see the structures of iron on the roof, very typical on the constructions of the Industrial Revolution. A lot of investment by the United Kingdom. A lot of most of the materials used to came from England for the structure, for making the train station. It's now still your time for your train. If you want to make a phone call, or maybe if you want to take a coffee, at first we have to buy the tickets. This is the meaning in Spanish. Boletería means the place for buying the tickets, okay, the ticket office. These are the ticket offices. They are not open every day. They are for these ones on this side. These are for the long distance ticket office that offer train services that go to different parts of the country, such as important cities as Rosario, the place where Messi is from, Córdoba, and Tucumán City. Tucumán City, these are the gates of entrance to the north of Argentina. And then you can see the metro station that is directly connected to the main downtown. Okay, this is the line C. The metros in Buenos Aires are divided by letters and columns. Okay, the blue one, this is the connection with the other station in importance, that is Constitución, with the trains that go to the south of Buenos Aires. People. This is a very nice day today, so a lot of people come to visit. They can see more torches. Interesting. And these are the offices for buying the ticket for the local train that take to different parts of Buenos Aires City and places out of Buenos Aires City on the Grand Buenos Aires. I will show you the platform now. The structure is made of iron and glass. There are 8 platforms, some of them that go to metropolitan places, and then on the last ones are the long distance train. Okay, these are the characteristics of the second industrial revolution, the functional criteria for making this kind of structures made of iron. Okay, see these structures, these naves. There are two large parallel naves that have 230 meters long, okay, and 49 meters wide, and they are supported by a metal vault, okay, and supported by arches. You can see the iron arches, very strong structure, okay.
Stika Virtual Travel Agency.